Okay, so last night on the 21st of February, 2:12, sorry, I had a dream where I was out sort of by a lake. It was kind of like a park, I suppose. But I don't know. It was sort of a lake, and it had little islands. There was like a cliff sort of behind us. Then you I don't know, we were on a little island, which was sort of right next to the cliff. And I had a load of gear. I think we were fishing or something, I don't know, or we were just chilling out. I really can't remember, but I had a load of gear with me. I had, my bag with my camera and my ponies and stuff, books and things like that, which I normally carry around with me. And I think I had some knitting gear and some art stuff. When we suddenly spied a crocodile, and we knew, even though the crocodile looked kind of tame, we kind of knew that, if the crocodile got us, he'd certainly seen us, and if he'd got us, it would sort of be game over. So we pretty much abandoned our stuff and just tried to get out of there as quickly as possible, tried to dodge the crocodile, which we managed to do. Now, I left my camera behind. It's quite a nice camera, and at least I like it. And, I was slightly pissed off, but, I wasn't going to go back to get it. And at least not while the crocodile was there, and it would probably have been too late by the time he'd gone. So, but I'd left something of sentimental value. I think it was one of the ponies, something of great sentimental value, which I was willing to go back for. And I attacked the crocodile. I decided to confront and almost attack the crocodile. What I did, I think, was I handcuffed the crocodile. I had this set of handcuffs for some reason. I first tied something to the crocodile's arm, one of the crocodile's arms, and then handcuffed the thing to like a tree or something. That gave me enough time to rescue pretty much all of my gear. And then something happened, the crocodile broke free or something like that, so now I have the crocodile by the mouth. Like, the crocodile is hanging from my hand, and I've got hold of his mouth in such a way that he can't open his mouth. And I'm completely in control. I think there was something about a wedding as well. I'm not sure. I'm back. Yeah, well, the night before, I had a really strange dream. Some of it has escaped me. But it was a Sonic dream. I was in a Sonic universe, and I was a Sonic character. I might have been Sonic himself. I might have been a different character in that universe. I might have switched from character to character. I don't know. I don't think it matters. I was playing Sonic Adventures at the time, which might have something to do with that. And I was on sort of a rail a very Sonic-esque environment. Sort of a rail with a cart, or a series of carts, and I was sort of riding the carts. And I think once I'd ridden the carts, I encountered a girl, like a human girl, who said something along the lines of, "You might want to have sex with me." And I think what he meant by that, there was incidents early on in the dream, and she featured again, she came up again and said the exact same thing. I think I was trying to get into a group or a community or something like that, like I'd made some friends, and then I wasn't invited to various events or parties, or even down to the pub or anything, because of like one person or a small group of people, and then I lost touch with everyone pretty much, and forgot every bit about it almost. And then I suddenly thought, well, why don't I hang out with these people anymore? And it was down to this girl, basically, her concern, and her concern was that I might want to have sex with her. And she wasn't accusing me of preemptive rape either. She was concerned that a situation might occur where we have a consensual liaison, which I found a little bit odd. I found that a bit of a strange reason to to ostracize me, basically. She can always not consent. And I had some kind of comeback, which, was similar to her. That's right, I think I said, well, yeah, I might. And by that, I meant the whole thing of, she doesn't have to consent herself, and she doesn't have to initiate, any kind of sexual liaison. And if I try to initiate something, she doesn't have to consent, and then if I proceed anyway, that's rape, and we're heading towards a field of rape, and that's a different kettle of ball games altogether. But nothing like that had happened, so yeah, our conversation was, you might want to have sex with me, and then I said, well, yeah, I might. And I think I was let back into the group. Something happened, during the Sonic stage, though, and I just can't recall what. And yeah, I did wonder if the two dreams, they were connected somehow. But after the Sonic dream, was it after the Sonic dream? Yes, it was after the Sonic dream. I woke up feeling quite distressed, actually. I went onto the computer and, onto Second Life, where I keep in contact with my partner and many of our friends. and I caught a conversation which had happened. It was in, chat log, whereby Sky had congratulated Apple on something that he'd made or something like that. And Sky was offline, but I sent her an offline IM saying, we should make stuff together. We tried to make a house together ages back, like years back, and it turned out disastrous. I think Second Life, there's a bug, like an old bug which hasn't been ironed out, which prevents like two people working on the same project at the same time. Like you can't really build a house together, even if you give each other full perms and to all of your objects and all of that game. And the problem is that if you if you duplicate any object, the first object becomes pretty much useless. You can't, the object that you duplicated originally just becomes useless and you can't do anything with it. Or something like that. It's really strange. So we kind of never bothered again. Whenever Sky is building something, I just sort of leave it to it, and I do my own thing. And yeah, I just felt kind of left behind, which often happens on Second Life. I feel like everyone has little projects going, and everyone kind of invites everyone else to be involved in a little project, and I'm just kind of sitting there. And then they accuse me of going AFK a lot. But how can I help it? It's almost, apart from being completely pointless, it's just aggravating. And I suffer from anxiety, and it does me no favours to sit on a computer screen and do absolutely nothing, or once in a while get into a pure old conversation, but that's it. Do nothing creative. It's just, and I woke up feeling really bad about it, but not for long, because I then found a friend, and that's when I found out about this glitch. And that was fine, and I had a little talk with Sky and a little talk with a friend, and that was cool in the gang. So I think these dreams are connected, according to Pamela Ball here. Crocodile represents our fears, and knitting, both, art and, the art equipment and the knitting, with it being my creation, my creative. Yeah, as you can hear, probably hear, this recording isn't, the greatest of qualities. I don't know if I mentioned this in the last video. I don't think I did. I had a 10-minute limit for the last video. Or a 15-minute limit, rather. Which I overcame. But, I started this channel with the interest of making, a dream video, like a video dream journal, a sort of a dream vlog, as it were, as often as possible, for as many dreams as I could fathom. And this became, I made it into a New Year's resolution, and then I realised that I didn't have suitable equipment, really, suitable recording equipment. The only thing I have that records in such a way that, would still be legible is my aforementioned camera, which only shoots DVD quality video. And while I could just shoot a video and use the soundtrack, it's still a bit of a pain to be able to only record 50 minutes at a time and to have it on DVD and to have to, transfer these huge files and work with these huge files just to get a sound, just to get the sound bites. I did have this MP3 player as well, which was okay, and I still have that, but I kind of gnawed it up. It takes AAA batteries, and I had one in for too long, and it corroded, so now it just switches off randomly when it feels like it, and if it, conks out halfway during the recording, you kind of lose everything. So this is my cue to try and find some solution to that. And of course I could use a computer, but I didn't want to sort of ground myself every day, at the computer. So this is my cue to try and find a solution, and eventually I managed to get hold of this little MP3 player thing which I'm using now. It's not perfect, but at the same time, I had immense difficulty. I mean, obviously I got these vouchers for Christmas, but I had immense difficulty getting hold of the stupid device. They kept being out of stock, and the way Argus works when it comes to reserving things is just strange. But I managed to get one in the end. It involved a trip to Gloucester. And at the same time I ordered something from eBay which should be a little bit better. I mean, it's not going to be professional by any means. I'm not looking for professional though. I'm just looking for something which we can listen to without it being too irritating, or without me being completely illegible. And this device, it looks like a little MP3 player, but it comes with a separate microphone, and it is advertised as being specifically for voice recording and recording phone calls, oddly enough. But he hasn't arrived yet. He said he was coming from Bristol. I have a feeling that in the coming weeks I'm going to get a package and it's going to say Hong Kong on it. So that hasn't arrived yet, and this little MP3 player thing is okay aside from the slightly dodgy quality. Um, and I don't know. I think that's about it. I mean, that's one project which I have going, and of course I only have one video, plus this one if I upload it, on this channel, and the first video was uploaded last year sometime. And I have recorded a few dream videos, but I never used the footage. Do you know what I mean? I never actually made them into videos. So, yeah, that's one little project I've got going, and of course I want to get to America. I mean, the whole, this whole issue is, do you know what I mean? I'm not going to get to America by just sitting here and doing nothing. I'm always trying to find solutions for that, and to be honest, I think YouTube is the best option for me, and people have been talking about charging people to interpret their dreams and stuff, and it's like, well, I don't want to ask for money for that. But I've got no problem with asking for money from ad revenue, but, of course, and I can make movies, I know I can. I'm particularly good at editing and finding content. But of course I'm a one-man band, really. Sky Faker is Sky's channel as well, but she hasn't done anything for it yet, so I suppose I could bring a friend into it. I don't know. But I think that's what it's, all about. It's just about, it's about me overcoming these obstacles, partly practical obstacles, like, trying to find the MP3 player, trying to find, a recording device, or trying to get to America, but also emotional barriers. It's so easy for me to get depressed and then sort of get stuck. And I've got the old Dreamcast going, hence the Sonic Adventures, which I've now completed, and I'm now playing a game called, a really stupid game actually, called Blue Stinger. I'm kind of determined. Years ago I bought all these games when the Dreamcast was going out of fashion. For reasons Is that a friend? Christ. For reasons I might not go into now. I bought like a ton of games as they were going cheap, and pretty much randomly. I just wanted to build up a library of games. I bought any game I could. And now I've got this huge library of these just completely or mostly random games. And I've got Sonic 1 and 2, which I like. I've got the Looney Tunes Space Race, which actually cost me a penny. And I like that. I completed that as well. Again. I've got Chucky Rocket. I've got Dragon Riders, Fur Fighters. And I've got that, is it Soul Man? No, Shadow Man, I quite like. And then I've got like tons and tons of these. I've got MDK2 and Soul Reaver and that JoJo's Bizarre Adventure thing and all kinds of just these random, mostly adventure games. I thought that would do me good. I thought if I buy all these games now, I won't have to, fork out in the future. And if I buy them new and keep them in good condition, I won't have to, I won't have the nightmare of trying to find a decent copy that works of, whatever game. But as it turned out, of course, these games are just strange for the most part. Just complete, with a lot of them I couldn't get past the first level. I'm determined to get through one or two of them with a walkthrough probably. I'm using a walkthrough for this, otherwise I can never guess. You walk so slowly. That's the problem. You get stuck and you're on this tiny little island walking around really slowly. And it's just really, really dull unless you're pushing forward. But then the puzzles are a little bit too cryptic without a walkthrough. With the walkthrough, I guess it's interesting enough, as long as you're pressing forward. Anyway, that's a different issue, I guess. I've got to try not to get stuck in that. I've got to try and complete, try and read the rest of Warhorse in the next couple of days so I can go and see it in the theatre. I don't really want to see it having read half the book. That would be irritating. I do want to see it in the theatres. And I've got to be more creative. I've got to get this video up. But I've got to start making more videos like this in the future.